This is day 14 of my backpacking Scotland trip, and I'm going from Glenbrittle in Skye all the way around to Portree. This was the first day where I knew the beautiful weather I was experiencing was coming to an end, and there was particularly going to be bad rain the next day, so I was trying to do a good long distance to shorten the journey I'd then be doing over the following 2 days. I stopped off at lunch for Dunvagen, the Dunvagen Hotel, as you'll see here. But this road, it's not the most interesting segment of the Skye journey, but there are some quite nice highlights, and that's what I'm showing in the photos, as well as Portree, of course. The footage coming down yesterday was chaotic because of all the cars, but it's early morning, so I thought I'd give you some quiet footage leaving Glenbrittle in video this time so we can hear the birds. This is the view back to the Glenbrittle campsite that I just left, and then some of the view ahead, and then if you stop at the Youth Hostel, it has its own set of waterfalls off to the right, and some pools up above them, so in particular if the fairy pools are busy, it's a good stop. And some fast footage going through the glen itself, some great views. This is a great cycle. And yeah, coming back up through the glen, we're almost up to the fairy pools here. That's the track leading down to the fairy pools. Early morning, so quiet enough, and just some view of the mountains on either side. And then quite a bit up the road, this is the first segment of New Road as I'm heading towards Dunvagen. Some nice bends here. Hard to cycle though. And some fine views on this segment as well, looking back over the lochs. And a lovely descent. Very fast here down to the bridge and then back around the other side. Really enjoyed this bit. Although my pannier fell off, I had to put it back on, so that was a bit of a shock. That's the causeway over the Amur River, by the way, if you're trying to follow this on a map. This photo looking back from Brackadale, just on the other side. This stretch of road is only moderately busy until you get to Dunvagen, where I stopped for lunch at the Dunvagen Hotel, and then I popped down the road that goes to the castle, but unfortunately you can't see the castle from the road. There are some very nice roadside woodland though, so it's probably worth doing that short trip down. And then that standing stone is from 2020, I believe. And then the road from Dunvagen to Portree, this is now getting quite a lot busier. However, there is a cycle route, quiet local road, alternate track that runs beside the road for some of the distance. I think this is slowly being built out and may eventually cover most of the distance. And in fact, the day I was cycling it, I realised that more of it had been developed than was actually on my map. So I turned onto it being a bit uncertain if it was going to keep going, but in fact it did most of the way. So that's well worth actually popping yourself onto. It's a lot more pleasant than the main road beside it. And then the big descent down into Portree itself on a side road, and that's pretty lovely, particularly the stretch at the end where you're coming down the steep hill. Great view into Portree there, but down below us. So yeah, that's Portree itself, of course, picture postcard perfect. I was camping in the Portree campsite just about a couple of kilometres out of town, and popped back in to get some views, and then the following morning, while that rain had finally arrived, just cycled down to the harbour area itself to get another couple of pictures before I left town and some video. And so that brought the end of what did I say? This was day 14. This is, of course, the morning of day 15, and then we will be going on.